Hey guys, Akif here. Assalamu alaikum, our brothers and sisters. And we are in the end times of Ramzan now, so do pray for our people in Gaza. They need your prayers. And today I'm gonna react on one of our brothers' video whose name is Hassan. He's in the video, so it's going to be fun. I know if he's there, he's going to make some jokes. But people in this video beside him are gonna speak some logicless. So there's no hope for logic in this video, but it's just I don't know why I'm doing this, but it is what it is. There's no logic in this video, I'm sure. Let's dive in and let's start. Watch this video. Logicless.
Well, the war in Gaza has incensed communities across the world. Many Jewish people say they don't feel safe on the streets of Western cities. Many Muslims feel the horror facing innocent Palestinians is treated only as a second-class concern. As with any emotive cause, a lot of people with no dog in the fight have moulded this crisis into a familiar battle of good versus evil, oppressors versus oppressed. Hysterical scenes at some of America's top universities this week have generated more coverage and commentary than the war itself in the last 2 weeks. Columbia says that all in-person classes are now cancelled until the end of the semester. Arrests have been made at encampments outside NYU and Yale. Well, one notable Jewish professor at Columbia shared a video of Muslims praying as if it was a shocking assault on US values. Many badly informed pro-Palestine demonstrators, meanwhile, have called for an intifada and chanted, "We love Hamas." Others believe that synchronised dancing is a long-lost secret to peace in the Middle East. Well, these people are all spending $80,000 a year on tuition, but clearly many of them haven't found Wikipedia, and this virtue-signalling fever is now emboldening a growing number of people to confront public figures there's simply no connection to the war. This was New York Mayor Eric Adams, berated for supporting genocide as he took his seat on a flight.
Are you Eric Adams? Yeah, you! You support the genocide in Palestine. There are homeless people all over New York. You're always partying. You don't actually care about the citizens of New York. People cannot afford food. You keep cutting the education budget so you can fund the police.
And this so-called performance artist has dominated timelines for days after achieving what previously seemed impossible, an outpouring of public sympathy for Alec Baldwin by doing this.
Put innocent people in jail, Alec Baldwin. I'm so sorry. Free Palestine, Alec, just one time, and I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you alone, I swear. Just say free Palestine one time. One time. One time.
Call the police.
One time, Alec. You know he's a criminal. You know he's a criminal. Come on, Alec, just say free Palestine one time. Israel, Zionism. Please say it. One time.
Could you do me one quick favor?
So does any of this make a difference? Are these demonstrators forcing the rich and powerful to confront and condemn the horrors of war? Or is it a wave of self-indulgent protest, just distracting us from the deadly serious realities of a grim ongoing war? In a moment, I'll debate all that with Hassan Piker, Emily Austin, Esther Krakow and James Barber. First, I'm joined by Alec Baldwin's antagonist there, who calls herself crackhead Barney. Well, welcome to Uncensored.
Hey, Piers! I've been waiting for you, Piers fucking Morgan!
Okay.
I wore my diaper today for you, Piers. Do you like
Stream
all
Alec Baldwin. All right. I think we've heard enough of crackhead, to be honest with you. All right, let's bring in my panel. Streamer Hassan Piker, journalist Emily Austin, uncensored contributor Esther Krakow, and podcaster James Barr. Well, Emily, I mean, on one level, I guess it was quite funny, but on another level, I didn't like what she did to Alec Baldwin. I've got no truck for Alec Baldwin whatsoever. And I think with this case that he's got hanging over him, I hope that justice is served, because ultimately he did fire the gun that killed that poor woman and has been on some kind of weird PR tour ever since. But I don't like to see any public figure, whether it's Eric Adams, the mayor, on a plane, or Alec Baldwin getting a coffee, harangued and harassed in that manner. Now, I tried to conduct a serious interview. She obviously wasn't interested in doing that, wanted to turn the whole thing into a foul-mouthed rant and joke and performative thing. Fine. That's entirely her right to do it. But what did you think of these harassings, not just by her, but...
Okay. Do you believe that by looking her that she will be serious in a conversation? I told you this video is not going to be a logical. This is full of just jokes. you have a presence, right? You have a presence. We all do have a presence. By looking someone, you know that that person is going to be serious or not. I don't know, man. Piers, what he's eating or what he's on. Does he really think that that person, that whatever, man, woman, black, white, whoever she was or he was, they was, might be serious in this conversation? Even if you think about this, you're starting with a joke.
People of public figures.
You tried to conduct a serious interview with crackhead Barbie?
Well, no, I was asking her about a viral video of her harassing Ali Baldwin, which I do actually think is a serious thing. I do actually think public figures should not be harassed in that manner. I've had a bit of it myself, and I think it crosses a line, right? And Ali Baldwin, you know, as far as I'm aware, has not said anything particularly sensational about the war at all. So why she is harassing him in the street in the way that she did, I think is worthy of examination.
Wow.
Now, as it turned out, she had no interest in having a serious conversation. Okay, so we've cut it off. But I don't think I should be blamed for getting on someone who is literally at the centre of a quite big news story in America for harassing a famous star. Do you, Hassan?
No, it was for clout. She was doing it for clout. That's why she went on the show, also for clout, which you were correct on pointing out that using the ongoing ethnic cleansing campaign in Gaza and what's happening to the Palestinian people as a vehicle to create more social clout for yourself, social capital for yourself is pretty disingenuous, pretty messed up.
I have to jump in there, though, because isn't that what everybody's doing? Isn't that what this show is also doing? Because you're talking about create political clout, create noise,
I'll come back
to get clicks, to make money.
Listen, let's not all be disingenuous.
No,
right?
but the whole conversation, and
on.
actually Crackhead Barney isn't that different to you.
Well, actually,
and Crackhead Barney said it herself. She said, we're no different. And I kind of agree with Crackhead Barney. I didn't think I'd say
If you think there's any correlation between what she just did on the show...
someone screaming over someone and not letting them speak, there's definitely a correlation.
Well, you think that I've treated you...
This guy, this pink guy, he's one of those. You know it. He's one of those. If, again, he also needed... parenting, okay, again. Oh my god, I don't want to say anything on this, but this guy is one of those. If anybody is supporting that woman or him, he, she, whatever that was, you're one of those. You know whom I'm talking about, and definitely this guy. Okay, this guy will not make any sense. Trust me, and you will know. He will not make any sense. No way. And this here, no way. He's not making any sense. I bet.
She treated
no,
Ali
I'm
Baldwin.
just saying that I think that actually you aren't that different. You're trying to do the same thing.
I'll come back to that.
You're just doing it in a different way.
No, it's a preposterous suggestion. I do not do what she does, right? But Hassan, here's the point I would make to you. A lot of people think a lot of these protesters at universities in America are performative. The ones who are chanting their support for Hamas, the ones who are chanting about intifada and pretending it's not about a violent uprising. I mean, do you accept that a lot of that is not only performative, but public demonstration of support for terrorism?
Absolutely not. I don't think that... I mean, all protests are technically performative, obviously, but there's a very clear-cut goal for the group of students at Columbia and many other universities. I was in Melbourne not that long ago, and I attended a Palestinian protest there, a Palestinian rally there, and the students there were also demanding the exact same thing, that their colleges divest from a lot of the companies that are aligned with the state of Israel, a lot of the companies that are directly involved in operations in the West Bank, a lot of the companies that are playing a role in the regular maintenance of the apartheid regime of Israel and helping Israel conduct an ethnic cleansing campaign. That is the ultimate goal. That is why they're trying to very clearly cause a little bit of a disruption and engage in.
But are you comfortable? Okay, but are you comfortable,
the most American thing you can do?
Are you comfortable with the ones who are seen chanting support for Hamas or chanting about intifada?
I am perfectly comfortable with people chanting about the intifada. As far as the Hamas thing goes, any kind of protest is always going to have a litany of random people, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. You have to look at the actual tangible goals that the protest movement is stating they're interested in. And I think that those goals, and I think you will agree with me on this, Piers, I think those goals are pretty valid overall. I think that they want to, one, recenter the attention to the genocide that is ongoing in Gaza, and two, demand that their tuition dollars do not go to operations in Israel. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a campus. There's going to be a sister campus that is being built in Tel Aviv.
Which is logical, right? The protest which was happening in USA, all the camps and everything, all around the USA. Then it went to basically Canada also. Then it went to Australia also, I guess. And then it went to Europe also, which is logical. In the Farah, you can search for it, what it is. Chanting for Hamas is a different thing. I can't say much on that. But the points which he's making and the points which students are making, which is logical, that we don't want our money, our fees to be going to those countries, like not a country as well, but still those states.
Right now for Columbia University. This means that Columbia University, which once housed the likes of the late great Edward Said and many others, and that currently has many Palestinian students who pay tuition for projects such as this one, will not be able to go to that sister campus. I find that abhorrent, but it's everyday existence in Israel.
Let me bring in Emily. You've been listening to all this. Your response?
With all due respect, Hassan, why do you feel that Columbia, or any college for that matter, owes you to divest from Israel? Why do you think your opinion is correct? Because so far, I heard the classic buzzwords: apartheid, discriminatory, ethnic cleansing, and genocide, which is funny because it's all the exact opposite. So if I may ask you, what about Israel is apartheid? You also just said the students in Israel, the campus in Israel would not allow Palestinians to join. Are you confused, or do you know nothing about the country of Israel? Because let me remind you, Jews are not allowed in the West Bank and Gaza. However, Arabs have full Israeli citizenship, have the rights, are members of the Knesset, which is the equivalence of, you can think of Congress, and even prosecuted a former Prime Minister, Ehud Olmert, an Arab judge. So what apartheid exactly are you speaking of?
Okay, so same goes with the Palestine. Like years back when there was a country, Palestine, and inshallah still will be in future. So there were Jews with not being Israeli. They had a passport, Palestinian passport, and they were there. So it doesn't make any sense, bro. I know. And oh yeah, where's the cursor? Yeah. She is also not going to make sense. Yeah. Remember, she's not going to make sense. Definitely. Started. No making sense.
What genocide? What ethnic cleansing? And secondly, how dare you say it's okay to talk about an intifada? Let me remind you, the intifada, last time it happened in Israel, consisted of thousands of people dying in bus bombings. So are you saying that you support terrorism and killing innocent people?
Well, intifada simply just means revolution, and I'm an American, and in 1776,
violent
we did
revolution.
One of those, and it was pretty fucking good. Yeah. What do you think? The American?
Okay.
Do you think the American Revolution was a tickle party?
Hiroshima.
Of course not.
We also bombed Hiroshima.
Don't. Yeah, I know, and that was also unjust and unimaginably cruel. But of course, the Israel Defender is also defending nuking civilians and killing them by the hundreds of thousands. Now listen, let's get back.
But when it goes against
refocus the conversation to the points that you made. Let's refocus the conversation to the points that you made.
Okay, look,
you said,
just to remind everybody, I'm actually moderating this, but that's an interesting point that Emily just raised, Hassan. It does seem that you're very selective about the violence that you support. That when you support it, it's justified. When other people use things in a violent way that you don't support, it's unjustified. Seems like it's all skewed to what Hassan Piker thinks.
Well, not necessarily just what I think. I think that there are obvious markers, obvious boundaries. I don't think violence against civilians is justified. I have talked about October 7 on this very same show, saying that it was a tragedy. It was atrocities that occurred on October 7 specifically. When you target civilians in any capacity, I think that that is unacceptable. However, this does not mean that violence will not occur in many circumstances. Violence has occurred in every single revolutionary action many good revolutionary actions. Obviously, America bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki with an atom bomb. That was not a very good
Hamas did on
moment
October
for
the 7th,
anybody. It was not a very good moment for human civilization at all.
Was what Hamas did on October the 7th? Was what Hamas did on October the 7th an example of what you would call a justified revolution?
I don't look at every single act of violence. I look at
You've literally
players,
just been reciting a whole load of them.
systems of oppression.
Why
when
are you
analyzing it.
Why are you avoiding
too,
October the 7th?
You do it too.
No, I don't.
I'm not avoiding it. I've talked about it a million times over.
Let me ask you one more time.
This is not what we're here to discuss.
Emily, hang on.
This is not what we're here to discuss.
Let me just ask you directly one more time. Let me ask you one more time. Do you believe what happened on October the 7th was a justified act of revolution? Yes or no?
I do not, and I do think that. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me clarify. Let me clarify something very important here. Events that unfolded on October 7th were atrocities. That much is clear. Those atrocities could have been avoided if Israel was not an apartheid regime. Israel has been an apartheid regime for 75 years.
Apartheid regime?
In the
Because
early,
you keep repeating that.
no, you can't just chime in. You can't just chime in. You ask me a question. You want it?
Why
you ask me a question. I'm going to give you an answer.
Because you're repeating
Israel
these lies.
has been an apartheid regime since its inception. Until 1967, Israel was an apartheid regime for the Palestinian citizens of Israel, the Arabs, as you called them. There was a two-tier criminal justice system. They were subjected to the military court processes and not the civil court processes until 1967. After 1967, they got citizenship. There are obviously still many different social issues that pertain to the Palestinian citizens of Israel, the Arabs that are living in Israel, those who are not Jewish, of course. However, Israel currently is occupying the West Bank. There are more than 2 million Palestinians that live in the West Bank. Israel is illegally occupying the West Bank. There are checkpoints. There are license plates that restrict Palestinian travel. The Israeli operations in the West Bank have destroyed Palestinian statehood. Now, of course, all of this is readily available for those who want to learn about it, yourself included. I hope you look it up. B'Tselem is an Israeli human rights organization which declared Israel to be an apartheid regime in 2021, in April of 2021. Amnesty International declared Israel to be an apartheid regime.
Let me, before I move, hang on. Before I just want to bring in our two British panelists here, but just finally, just to clarify, Hassan, I can't quite work out whether you said you do think October the 7th was an unjustified act of revolution or whether you changed your mind. So can you clarify?
Bro, leave October 7. Come on, leave October 7. Leave it. I've seen his podcast, many podcasts. Like, I've been following him for years. Not for good reason, of course. There are some debates which I watch every time. October 7. Do you condemn October 7? Yes. Do you condemn October 7? Yes. Do you support Hamas? Of course. How can you support Hamas when you're condemning some action? There are some good people, there are some bad people in every organization. There are 2 million people in Gaza. We are not talking about the West Bank. That's a different story. There are 2 million people in Gaza. On October 7, there was some bad thing happens from bad people. Some bad people, not all the bad people. I'm not supporting any Hamas or any organization. I'm just saying one thing. Right now, 50,000 people are dead. What do you think? What their brothers, sisters, fathers, sons, whoever lived. Your mother is dying in front of you. Your son is dying in front of you. Everybody, your family member is dying in front of you. What are you going to do? They're going to join Hamas, of course. By killing 50,000, you're enrolling more 50,000. So it's not ending. It doesn't make any sense. On October 7, they killed 1,000. I'm not saying that killing 1,000 people is justifiable, but can you understand? Like, does that make any sense? Killing 1,000 people, okay, and we have some stories about that, which I don't want to quote over here, that Israeli soldiers kill their own people, and there are so many stories, and they said that they have beheaded babies. There's no picture, nothing such. Even the president of America, I guess, he came into the conference and said that they have seen beheaded babies. There are no photos of those. But still, October 7, do you condemn? Yes. Killing people? No, not a good thing. But 50,000, 40,000 people, or whatever. You say 30,000. Okay. Israelis say that we don't believe in that number. 30,000 for a matter of fact. Again and again asking October 7. It's just a diversion. You know how a magic trick you do. It's just diverting a distraction or whatever, the conversation, or you can say you're just making a circle on a dot, and you need to answer in this. Why? October 7 is that circle, and it's that dot, and you're making a circle around that. But what happened before October 7? Why there were people being killed? They are not going to talk on that because it's against. Can we say that or not? I don't know. I don't want to say that, but go ahead and do your research. You know what I mean.
I think that violent means of maintaining an apartheid is inevitably going to yield violent retaliation.
So was it justified?
Something that is completely avoidable.
Was it justified?
Civilian deaths are never justified.
You know what, Hassan?
Hang on, Emily.
Hang on,
Emily.
You look
Emily, let me.
Poland's mother in the eyes. No, you look this person's mother in the eyes, and you tell him that this was justified. You tell him his arm being blown off and being held in captivity for 200 days is justified.
I do love that the Israel defender has no capacity to fucking hear anything I'm saying.
What are you talking
about? It just. If you're not going to respect me and listen to what I have to say, which, by the way, of course you don't respect.
Gaza.
Oh, if you talk over each other, nobody can hear you.
What do you mean I think? It's not I think. It's not I think. It's the entire world knows.
No, it is you think.
Hang on, Emily, please. Let me handle this, Emily. Hassan, just before I come to the two people who are with me here, I just need some clarity here because it seems like you're dancing around whether you think October the 7th was justified or not.
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this back and forth masturbation? I've already given you my fucking position.
Why are you doing this?
I'm sick and tired of repeating it over and over again.
Okay, I just
ask this
demon next to me wearing a fucking IDF dog tag.
Please stop shouting at each other.
Next to me wearing an IDF dog tag if she actually thinks Israel's actions are justifiable. Do you see me rocking the fucking...
The hostages that you
talking over each other.
Doesn't matter. You know what it is.
I'm going to give you two. I'm going to let you two calm down. It's pointless. We cannot hear you when you talk over each other. Every time recently I have someone from both sides on, like it goes like this.
I'm wearing this rusty necklace.
Please, can you listen to me, Emily?
Civilians in Gaza right now.
Can you stop doing this to each other, please? Nobody can understand a word either of you are saying. Now let me come to Esther and James here. This is one of my problems.
No, I want to hear if Emily condemns the actions of
Hassan,
Israel.
you will please let me moderate the debate.
Why do you ask her about 30,000 people?
I've got two panelists here who've not had a word yet.
Exactly, because you're a fucking terrorist.
Please stop talking.
And I think you're a terrorist. And I think you're a terrorist as well.
Okay, well, I'm not the one wearing...
Because until the hostages are home, don't expect the war to be over.
Yeah, I know.
Bring
you don't
them
care about the hostages. If you cared about the hostages,
you're condemning
you would
me.
be
You are
screaming at Benjamin Netanyahu.
your own terrorism
Benjamin
on live
Netanyahu
television.
is the hostage
you
killer.
Are exposing... You know,
Benjamin Netanyahu has killed more hostages than
Hamas. What do you think you're achieving here?
For not only oppressing the Palestinian people, but for spreading terrorism. I don't see your outrage at Hamas. Israel gave Gaza back in 2005,
I would like to, please.
And Hamas has turned this into a terrorist haven.
Emily and Hassan, can you please show some courtesy to the other panelists?
Evil in comparison to Israel.
Can you please stop talking, both of you, and let the other two panelists have a say?
Soundbite, Piers? I'll
give them some courtesy. Please, some courtesy for your co-panelists here. Now, Esther, this is one of the problems I have with this whole debate, is that increasingly it just descends into a screaming match between pro-Palestinians and pro-Israelis.
And the biggest losers are the victims of this war. 33,000 dead Palestinians, over 1,500 dead Israelis. These are the biggest victims of this because you're shouting at each other and nothing is getting, like, you're completely, forget having no courtesy for us, you're completely disrespecting actual victims of this conflict, which, by the way, didn't happen in a vacuum. And I think that's the most important thing to say about this. None of this happened in a vacuum. Of course, October the 7th was an atrocity and it was completely unjustified. There was no justification for butchering people in the way that they did. But it didn't happen in a vacuum. A lot of the people that live in Gaza weren't even born at the time that Hamas came in power. So I despise this, you're a terrorist sympathizer, you're a genocide supporter, all of this, when really the people that we should be talking about deserve better.
Okay, James, on the wider point of these protests...
Well, I couldn't get to that part because I wanted to describe what the apartheid is, and Emily cut in immediately to chirp about some random shit.
Okay, you were both abusing each other. It was very unsatisfying.
It was very clear.
Let me ask James. James, on the protests...
Yeah, dude.
On the protests, look, I believe in the right to protest. That's an absolute bedrock of any democracy. But I don't believe in the right to support terror groups publicly or to chant about support for Hamas or to chant about Intifada, which is a violent uprising. Where's the line for you with these?
I agree. I think we have to condemn what Hamas did, and I don't think the words that have been used so far have been strong enough. I mean, it was the worst thing we've seen in a very long time. It was disgusting, appalling, awful for everyone involved. I also have a lot of sympathy, if not, I can't think of a bigger word, for the people of Gaza. It's awful, and I will agree with you. I do want a free Palestine, and I also want a free and successful Israel, but I don't want innocent people murdered. So yeah, you can't go to a protest and start shouting about support for Hamas. That's insane.
Isn't it ironic that something like this has become a haven for like the mentally unwell? You're talking about something as serious as a conflict in Israel and Gaza, and for some reason you have really uneducated people that are clearly 20 years ago would have been in an asylum supporting this openly, not even knowing the conflict, not even knowing the context of what they're supporting, and for some reason we even give it airtime. That's what upsets me. These people don't deserve airtime. Right?
Everyone is so triggered on both sides, on all sides, and rightly so, because a lot of terrible stuff has happened. So that's where the emotion is coming from. But really, I think we all want the same thing, and that is for innocent people to not be murdered or slain in the streets.
Right. I mean, look, Hassan. Hang on, Emily, please, I'll come to you. Let me just ask Hassan. When you and Emily go at each other like you just did, nobody wins. I mean, no one can really understand a word you're saying because you're shouting over each other. You end up just calling each other terrorists. There's no sensible dialogue here. There's no constructive conversation. It's just two implacably opposed sides abusing each other. Do you understand that?
Yeah, listen, Piers, okay? This is going to always be a very heated discussion, okay? Having a conversation about how heated this discussion is utterly unproductive. Every single moment that we use on air, not talking about every single university building being desecrated, destroyed. The fact that we're having this conversation on the eve of hundreds of mass graves being unearthed right now in many different parts of Gaza around hospitals that Israel had laid siege to is disgusting. I agree. I came on here, as I have done last time as well, and as I will probably do in the future as well, with one simple goal in mind, which is to address all of the misinformation that surrounds stuff like this. As far as the crackhead Barbie thing goes, yeah, she's a random TikTok influencer who gives a shit about what she has to say. She's obviously doing it for clout. But the students over at Columbia, okay, the students that I have talked to at the Columbia University Apartheid Divest group, the students that I've talked to from Jewish Voice for Peace.
All right, Emily, let me just ask you the same thing I asked Hassan. When you guys scream at each other and call each other terrorists, it doesn't obviously achieve anything other than it becomes unintelligible to the audience. You know, is there not a better way we can have this conversation?
Funnily enough, correct. And funnily enough, I have the same exact answer as Hassan. My job here is to make sure that I'm debunking false narratives that Hassan is clearly spewing. My job here is to call out hypocrisy. And I just saw another one where he's saying that crackhead Barney, whoever the hell that girl was, is a lunatic, but Aaron Bushnell, who lights himself on fire is a hero. You can't pick and choose whatever fits your narrative. And I keep on repeating that over and over again because the Palestinian movement will literally just take what they can get, spew all of the truth into their false narrative, spread misinformation, and then you say that we're the liars. You tell me I'm wearing an IDF dog tag. I'm wearing a bring them home for the hostages that you... No, it says bring them home.
You're using the hostages as a simple political tool to make propaganda in the West. Is quite disgusting. The protests that are happening in Israel right now are massive.
Are a political tool?
And those protests...
What?
You are using humans in captivity as a political tool. It's so obvious.
Why, Hassan? Why are you dehumanizing the hostages? Because I have no problem admitting the Palestinians deserve better.
Not.
I feel terrible.
You're using them as a political pawn.
I can say that.
If you cared about the hostages, you would be in Tel Aviv right now,
using the
alongside.
Let me bring in James. Let me
Let
bring in James, please.
I'm sorry that I can't.
Please, let me bring in James.
I agree with both of you.
Sorry, can you please, when I say stop talking, please stop talking. We've got 4 people here. James.
If anyone is using hostages, surely it's Hamas, Hassan. How can you say that? How can you use that argument? That's a crazy thing to say. It's Hamas that have taken these people from their homes,
tens of thousands of people in Israel. There are currently tens of thousands of Israeli citizens right now in the streets of Israel, in the streets of Tel Aviv, outside of Benjamin Netanyahu's house, protesting every single day. What are they protesting? They're protesting for Benjamin Netanyahu to facilitate a ceasefire with Hamas so that they can actually bring the hostages home. That is precisely the number one goal of the family members of the hostages.
Who is using
the hostages? And if anyone on this panel was being even a little bit honest, they would recognize the reality that, listen, just listen.
You didn't listen to my question.
Listen to what I'm saying, and you will understand perhaps what I'm trying to imply here.
That's very patronizing.
Utilizing the hostages. Yeah, I am being patronizing. I don't know who the fuck you are, and you're over here chirping all the way from fucking London about Palestine and doing a both sides are fucking fine type bullshit where you're talking about how you want to fucking free Palestine, but also simultaneously, both sides got a lot going on. Shut the fuck up. You don't know anything, okay? I don't give a shit about what your perspective is.
I agree.
Hassan doesn't like what you have to say, so you're wrong. It's Hassan's way or the highway.
I mean, you are. There is no both sides on a genocide. Is there a both sides of a genocide? There is no both sides.
Well, the thing is,
okay. I want to watch that again. Okay, how long it was?
There is no both sides on a genocide. Is there a both sides of a genocide? There is no both sides.
Well, the thing is,
you want to fucking free Palestine, but also simultaneously, both sides got a lot going on. Shut the fuck up. You don't know anything, okay? I don't give a shit about what your perspective is.
I agree.
Hassan doesn't like what you have to say, so you're wrong. It's Hassan's way or the highway.
I mean, you are. There is no both sides on a genocide. Is there a both sides of a genocide? There is no both sides.
Well, the thing is, it's interesting you should mention the hostages.
What is in the Hamas charter? They want a Jewish genocide, but that's okay. But a Jewish genocide is okay.
If you're talking about the well-being of the if you're talking about the well-being of the hostages, what sense did it make for the IDF to flatten about 70% of Gaza? Because I completely agree. Bring the hostages home. If you look at Gaza, the topography of Gaza right now, it looks like a pancake. So I'm sorry, this whole argument of Hamas using them as human tools, fine, but the IDF has also been using it to continue that campaign. If you were told that if, God forbid, if your relative was one of the hostages and you saw what's happening right now, and I met someone whose mother is a hostage, and he said he didn't want his mother and her being taken to be used in the name of violence. Right now, he's sitting at home wondering, okay, what is the logic of trying to bring my mother home when you flattened Gaza? Please explain that to us.
So, can I pose a question
you might very well pull those hostages from under.
Okay, let Emily respond to that.
Everyone wants to criticize the IDF's response, but nobody wants to tell me what should Israel be doing to retaliate October 7th, eradicate Hamas from preventing another October 7th, and bring the hostages home.
I have an idea.
Do you have a solution?
I have an idea. Do not flatten Gaza and potentially pull your own hostages up from under the rubble, like have been done with thousands of Palestinians. That's a good idea. Yeah. Have you found any of them under the rubble?
So you're saying that you don't have an answer.
That is the answer.
So
don't kill your own hostages.
But you're quick to condemn the IDF, but you don't have an answer.
How about not killing the hostages?
Very interesting.
I have an answer.
Thank you for proving my point.
It's called the dissolution of the apartheid regime. That's what it's called. dissolve the apartheid
So
regime.
what would you like to
allow
see happen,
Palestinians
Hassan?
breathing room. Do you not understand the English language?
We're
Dissolve
delayed.
the
It's delayed.
apartheid regime.
You need a Xanax, first of all. You need a Xanax. Okay, so should Israel do
Yeah, I'm
to
sorry.
the West Bank
30,000
what they did to
Palestinians have been
Gaza?
ruthlessly slaughtered by the
Should
Israeli
Israel
state.
give
It makes
back
me a
the
little
land so that it
upset
could
when
turn
someone is
into another
defending that.
Gaza? Is that what you'd like to see? Another terrorist haven launching rockets all day instead of turning it to Singapore? Because that's what they did in 2005.
Wait, hold
we
on.
See
What
how that
is
works.
Singapore?
The
The West
billions
Bank?
of dollars in
Hold on,
aid
is
they
the
turned
West
into
Bank
building
Singapore?
tunnels. Is that what you'd like to see?
bombing-
I don't know.
who's
Have I
bombing
gone
Singapore
deaf?
every day?
Sorry,
What,
Emily.
is
Is the
Singapore
West
an
Bank
open-air
supposed to be
prison?
Singapore?
What are you talking about?
Is the West Bank supposed to
The
be
West
Singapore?
Bank the West Bank has a port. They can import and export. Israel gave them a great piece of land. They received billions of dollars in aid, not only from
Israel
the
gave
U.S.,
them a great
but
piece of
Israel
land?
gave. Are you
No.
mad? They had a chance to rebuild, but they spent the last 15 plus years crying
Oh, wow.
that they don't have
Okay.
enough
The
land
West Bank
because there
is
is never
Singapore.
enough land for them instead of rebuilding. But that's okay. Build terrorist tunnels. Don't build hotels and don't rebuild
Israel
civilization.
has
Just build
not
terrorist
allowed
tunnels to keep hostages
Palestinians
in.
to have a nation state that they deserve by international law since the inception of the Israeli nation state. What you are saying is insane to me. The fact that you brought up the last 15 years as Palestinians crying is disgusting.
Oh, I have one more question.
You are a disgusting little monster
one more question.
who thinks
One more
that
question.
not offering contiguity to the Palestinians in the form of a state, which is under international law, is just simply
Wait,
Palestinians
I have one
crying.
question.
Okay?
This
problem is
West Bank
don't want a
Singapore.
two-state
Hold on.
solution.
This
they want
West
a
Bank
one-state
Singapore.
solution that eradicates the Israelis, which is not an option.
Fine. This West Bank
You're wrong.
Singapore, what place
You're wrong.
does the settlements play in that? Please paint a picture of how the West Bank of Singapore, or whatever, Singapore of the West Bank, how does this illegal settlements fit into
Ma'am,
that?
I think you're completely missing the picture.
Just explain to me
Israel
how the
wanted to
settlements
give
fit into
them
that picture.
a piece of land. I'm explaining it.
Okay, I'm
The
listening.
picture is they got a great piece of land to turn into society. Instead
Who
of turning it
got the
into
land?
civilized society,
Who did?
Israel gave the land to Gaza. They
So
withdrew.
then why the
they
Israeli
removed
settlements?
Israelis
It's not Israel's
from
land
their
to give.
homes.
But
It's
then
not
why
Israel's
are
land to
Israeli
give.
settlements?
It is not Israel's land to
2005.
give.
There are no Jews or Israelis. There are no settlements in Gaza.
In the West
they
Bank.
gave it to
in the West
the
Bank.
Palestinians.
They're not in the West Bank.
I'm speaking about Gaza, and
Oh,
now
I'm
you're
asking
changing
about
the
West
narrative.
Bank because I was interested
I'm
in knowing about
showing
Singapore.
I'm telling you that if Israel
Palestinians-
pulls out completely from the West Bank, if Israel pulls out from the West Bank, you can bet your ass it turns into the next Gaza. The world does not need two Gazas because one Gaza has already caused enough damage. If, however,
Yes.
Gaza decides to demand
Every
that
argument with
Hamas
Israel
removes
is
themselves
about some
from power,
hypothetical.
and they
It's-
can have democracy,
Israel has to do a
then yes,
genocide
there's
because if
potential
Israel
for a
doesn't do a
two-state
genocide,
solution.
then the Gaza
There's
is
no
not gonna be
genocide.
like
The
your
only
victim,
genocide.
Okay, one thing, two things. First of all, that she's okay. Let her look her face. Okay, she is saying that Israel gave the land to Palestine, West Bank, which is this side. Okay, I think she doesn't know the history. Okay, she knows from the time she was born that it is Israel. She's young, that's the reason. And second thing, she's saying that Israel has given a land to West Bank, but the troops are still over there. Does that make any sense? How can you give us someone, like for example, if I give someone to eat something, or like for example, I give a phone to someone, okay, they're using that. Yeah, they're using that. And I'm saying that, but I'll monitor it. Does that make any sense? You're giving someone and you're not monitoring it. Again, man, who is she, man? Stupid.
Is the
Palestinians
Hamas
in
charter that
Gaza
wants to
with
cannot
that
do
eradicate the
statement,
Jews?
and I
defensive
think-
genocide.
You know, it's interesting the word
cannot do
genocide
defensive
because
genocide.
hang on, it's
There is
interesting the
no
word. It's
genocide
interesting. Hang
happening.
on,
It's just a
Israel is
buzzword.
doing
I would love to get a
Genocide.
word in,
Allow it.
please. Interesting the word genocide because I've listened to all this fractious debate, everyone talking over each other. The truth is that actually only one side is publicly said that they wish to pursue a genocide, and that is Hamas. Hamas, after October the 7th, through their official spokesman on camera, said they wanted to do it again and again and again. That is the purest articulation of a genocide imaginable.
This is the thing what they are promoting again. They are saying now that Hamas is saying that we need one state, will blah blah blah, all the Jews, whatever they say, right? But the West Bank, first of all, is controlled by PLO. Yes, I guess. Hamas is on the Gaza side. West Bank is from the PLO, and PLO supports the two-state solution. And another thing that this guy, this guy, okay, they don't tell the truth. The sitting minister of Israel said that Gazan people are animals. So, they don't deserve to drink, they don't deserve to eat, we'll kill them all, something along these lines. Those people are animal. He quoted this, but they will never say that. They will never say that because it's against their narrative. They don't want to go because they don't want to go under that pressure. We all know who runs this. They don't want to go there. But still, they're gonna say just all a day about Hamas, October 7. That's all. Nothing else. Same old story. 1 year old back.
One thing I never hear from the pro-Palestinian side
You
is
really think
what Israel was
Piers,
actually.
Piers,
Hang on.
Piers,
No, don't
Piers.
interrupt me.
So one
Because I haven't
Hamas
asked you a
official,
question yet.
One Hamas guy.
Sorry, I
But
need to
that's
ask you a
ridiculous.
question.
You're being a ridiculous person.
I'm not being
You're being a ridiculous person.
I'm just saying, nobody ever
Because
tells
how
me.
many Israeli officials, even on your show, have said we should keep doing what we have been doing to Gaza over and over again? How does that not register in the same genocidal intent? If you think what that dude was saying, which was, by the way, ridiculous what he was saying, the Hamas official was saying, is that we're going to do October 7th over and over
but
again.
he said it.
We are justified in doing it over and over again. Yes, I find that to be abhorrent. However, what you fail to recognize is that's the genocidal intent, but not Amalek. That's the genocidal intent, but not saying we are fighting human animals, and that's why we have to cut off their food.
See. I just told that. There are only two people in this video which are logical. Okay, two and a half, three. First is me, second this guy Hassan, and third this true black lady. Because the first one, she was a white. Yeah, so only three. And 1, 2, 3. I don't know why this guy is sitting over here. She doesn't know any history. And this guy, biased guy. Doesn't make any sense, bro. Doesn't make any sense. It's all BS. It's all BS.
Water and their electricity. That was Defense Minister Yoav Gallant.
There we
who said
go with
that.
the lies
Benjamin,
again.
in the same genocidal intent. If you think what that dude was saying, which was, by the way, ridiculous what he was saying, the Hamas official was saying, is that we're going to do October 7th over and over again.
But he said it.
We are justified in doing it over and over again. Yes, I find that to be abhorrent. However, what you fail to recognize is that's the genocidal intent, but not Amalek. That's the genocidal intent, but not saying we are fighting human animals, and that's why we have to cut off their food, their water, and their electricity. That was Defense Minister Yoav Gallant.
There we
who said
go with
that.
the lies
Benjamin
again.
Netanyahu
You're saying
has
Israel
routinely
cuts
talked
off their
about this over and over
electricity.
again.
They don't
Israeli
even provide
interior
their
security-
electricity. You're
Israeli-
saying they cut off their water. They don't
Israeli
cut off their water.
politicians.
You are
Israeli-
spewing lies on national
Can you stop?
television.
Can you? I'm talking
I think so. Hang on.
No, because I'm not
Again,
gonna
you're
stop.
talking
I'm not gonna
over
let you
each
spew
other.
lies.
Some of
I'm
the
sorry,
some
name
of the
me another
comments.
army that
There's no
provides
doubt,
aid to
Emily.
people they're at war with.
Some of the
Only
comments.
Israel.
Some of the.
Piers,
Israel is.
No, Piers,
All
I'm not
right.
letting him spew
the
misinformation.
Karen
I'm not letting
country
him
on the
It's
fucking
pointless.
planet.
blatant
I swear
lies
to
on
God.
television.
Start it again.
This is pointless. We're getting
No,
nowhere.
because
Thank
he's
you.
spewing
Did Yoav Gallant
misinformation.
not say that?
Israel's cutting off electricity,
Okay.
water, and aid.
We're
Just
getting-
Did
spewing
Defense
lies. I'm not
Minister
gonna let
Yoav
you do it.
Gallant say we are fighting human animals or not? Answer that question. Did Defense Minister Yoav
Yes,
Gallant
yes,
say
yes.
we are
Hamas
fighting
is
human
human
animals and we have to
animals.
cut off their
Hamas-
electricity,
correct.
cut off their food, cut off
Correct.
their water?
Okay.
Yeah, the slight
You know what? I'm going to cut
Israel
off. I'm
provides
going to cut off this
7 to 9%
debate.
of their electricity. The rest is Hamas.
I'm going to cut off the
That's
debate
not
because
Israel.
we're getting
Israel
absolutely
provides-
nowhere. But I
Okay.
appreciate everybody joining me. Thank you very much indeed.
I told you. In the start of this video, I told you that I have been following Piers Morgan like for past 1 year. I know he is not going to make sense. That is the first guy. Second guy, which is Hassan, true guy. Do follow him. He's a good guy. And yeah, that lady, whoever she was, that white guy. I'm sorry, white girl. whoever she was. I don't know. She doesn't know the history about her part. She is, and the black lady, the true black lady at the end part, knew something, and she was having some emotion towards the Palestinian people. Of course, again, you need to be human. I don't know, man. Like, how are we still, after so many years, sitting and deciding that Palestinian people are human or not? Do we need to give them land or not? We're still deciding. I don't know. Where are we staying in this world? And that pink guy, whoever he was, I don't know why he was there. So, the moral of the story of this video is that it was just a fun video, it was just a comedy video. There was no, you can say, the true essence of a conversation of logical. Again, as I said, in this video, there are only 3 logical people, or 2.5, 3. One is me, second is Hassan, and third, the true black lady at the end. At the end of this video, I just want to say that we are in the end of the Ramadan, so please do pray for our brothers and sisters in Gaza. They need our prayers, at least what we can do from our side. And do share this video, like, subscribe if you want, but do share this video so that the more people can know the fact that the west side, or whatever you can say, you wanna name it, they're just making fun. They're just making fun of Gazan people. So I would say that do share this video so that more people can know. And yeah, Allah Hafiz. Take care. Bye. May Allah bless you all.